This is Cruise Radio.
I cruise a lot, and I always sail with travel insurance. You should too. Get a free quote today at tripinsurance.com.
Here we go.
Broadcasting from the tripinsurance.com studios in Jacksonville, Florida. This is Cruise Radio.
Hey, how's it going? My name is Doug Parker. Thank you so much for checking out this episode of Cruise Radio. Very happy to have you here, my friend. A review of MSC World America, or actually a second review we've done here for this ship. From Tim and his wife, they did a 7-night cruise on it, so we're going to get the full check-in there with Tim. Staff writer Richard Sims standing by with cruise news. And don't forget Cruise News Today, the 3 top cruise stories to start your day, and the stock report, Monday through Friday, either just opposite of this channel at Cruise News Today, or every weekday morning on YouTube at 7 a.m. All right, staff writer Richard Sims is here with Cruise News. Hey, Richard.
Hey, Douglas.
We kick things off with a story that happened last week, and it's the kind of story that nightmares are made of.
So true. The second I heard about this, it gave me what my grandma used to call the Heine shivers, because by now there's a good chance that listeners have seen the video of the aftermath. But so what happened was a section of a water slide on Icon of the Seas shattered, causing the man who was riding it at the time to suffer some form of lacerations. It's a little unclear how severe his injuries were. There's also a possibility that it was actually 2 people injured because, like, the first person slid down and the glass had maybe cracked, or the acrylic had cracked a little bit, and then the second person slid down and it was worse. It's a little unclear. What we do know, in the least surprising twist ever, is that the person who was most injured by this has hired an attorney and plans to file a lawsuit. Somewhat ironically, after this incident occurred, the ship's very next stop was Perfect Day at Coco Cay, which is chock full of what? That's right, water slides. Meanwhile, the Frightening Bolt, which is the name of the water slide on Icon, was shut down for the rest of that particular sailing in question. An investigation was said to be pending. No word. I haven't heard anything on whether it's reopened yet or not. I don't know how long repairs on something like that would actually take.
Another scary story coming out of the UK where a ship was evacuated following a bomb scare.
Not only a ship, but also the terminal, the Mayflower Terminal in Southampton, which is the largest terminal in the UK. So a man claimed to be carrying an explosive device, which is what triggered all of this. Guests on board the P&O Ventura, which was docked there at the time and boarding, they were notified by the captain that the boarding process, which had already begun, was being halted, and that they would all have to get off the ship, as it was potentially, if there was a bomb, it was potentially in the threatened blast area. But the police managed to arrest the man even before the ship could be completely emptied. In fact, one guy was quoted as saying, I was sitting eating lunch and the captain made his announcement. I'm like, well, I'm going to finish my lunch. And by the time I did, they had decided that we could stay on board. Once police searched the area and felt sure there was no danger, they lifted the evacuation order and the terminal was reopened. So all in all, good news. They searched and they didn't actually find a bomb. No real indication as to why the guy, made the threat or why he did it in that particular area. But good news is nothing came of it.
And another week, another fight, this time a brawl at the Long Beach Cruise Terminal, coming off the heels of last week's at Perfect Day at Coco Cay.
Not a lot of details about this one, but a video went viral, as these things always do, showing a group of men and women involved in a fist-throwing, hair-pulling, clothes-tearing altercation at the terminal where Carnival Frenzy was docked. There's not really any word on whether these were embarking or disembarking passengers, but it's the latest in a troubling series of incidents. And before anybody out there starts saying, oh, it's Carnival, of course this kind of thing happens on Carnival, let's not, pigeonhole Carnival, because just a few weeks ago, a much bigger brawl broke out on Royal Caribbean's Coco Cay. So, this is a problem that we're seeing across multiple cruise lines, and there are multiple factors at play. So let's not, immediately jump to the, oh, it's Carnival conclusion, because it's not always, and it won't always be.
It is interesting, Richard. I was at an airport the other day. I'm not going to say where it was because I don't want to pinpoint any culture or whatever. So this altercation happened in the jet bridge, right? We were boarding the plane. This person didn't want to check their bag. The gate agent said, you have to. The flight attendant got involved. They were screaming at each other in a different language. And all people were doing is just filming it in their faces. Like everyone had their cell phones around just filming. I'm like, maybe I'm just old for saying this, but I feel like we're doomed as a society.
I completely agree. I mean, how many times when someone is being medevaced off of a ship do we see like 200 people all pointing their cameras at it? I get that same feeling. And I mean, I actually am old, or at least older than you, but I find myself feeling that same way and thinking, what the heck is wrong with us? What's wrong with humanity?
Moving on, Carnival Cruise Line really leaning into shorter sailings.
Yeah, and they feature a first for this line because Mardi Gras will now become the first Excel ship to offer short cruises out of Cape Canaveral. These shorter sailings will start in May of 27 with 5-day sailings that will visit Celebration Key, Relaxaway at Half Moon Key, which is just a weird thing to say, and Nassau. Meanwhile, guests looking for something a little longer can jump on Carnival Celebration, which will be doing 7-day sailings out of PortMiami between May of 2027 and April of 2028. And remember, they also have the Carnival Festival, which is currently under construction and will become the 4th Excel ship in the fleet. And while we're talking about Carnival deployments, we should also mention that a series of Carnival Breeze sailings that were slated to take place between January and March of 2027 out of Galveston have been canceled so that the ship can go into dry dock for maintenance. They explained that, people always are like, well, wait, if you're going to go into dry dock, why did you sell this cruise to begin with? But sometimes there's an opening in a dry dock schedule and you're like, oh, you know what? Let's take this ship and put it over there. We didn't plan to, but it's scheduled for it anyway, so let's just do this. And that's what you see a lot of times happening with these canceled sailings, if it's like 5 or 6 sailings for this type of reason, is there was an unexpected opening. Meanwhile, I think it's really interesting that we're seeing such future far-flung, itineraries opening, not just with Carnival. We've seen it with several lines where it's like, okay, here's a sailing in 2028. And I love it because I'm an advanced planner. I love being able to look ahead and say, okay, here's what I'm doing in 2026. Here's what I'm doing in 2027. Oh, look, now I can start 2028. It gives you a chance to not only book a bucket list cruise or even just a regular cruise, but plenty of time to be excited about it and plan it, and more importantly, save for it. So that, like, if you know you're doing a big cruise in 2028 and you want to go do a celebrity ship and you want to stay in the retreat in 2028, that's going to cost a little bit, and it gives you time to save for it and be excited about it.
And gives the cruise lines more interest on your deposit.
100%. We talk about that all the time. Let's not kid ourselves. It's not like they're doing this because they want you to be excited. I mean, yeah, of course they want you to be excited about your future cruise, but they also want your money a little bit sooner.
On a somber note, Norwegian Cruise Line confirms rumors of a passenger going overboard. Well, it did happen.
Yeah, details on this are few and far between, but we did get a statement from Norwegian saying that a 79-year-old male passenger went overboard as the Norwegian Star was sailing toward Greenland. The cruise line went on to say that the appropriate authorities had been contacted and an investigation was underway. NCL sort of made it clear that they were withholding any further information out of respect for the family. But we have sort of received unconfirmed reports from passengers on board the ship saying that the person was recovered, but there's no indication of whether they survived the plunge or not. Given that tracking seems to indicate that they only spent about 30 minutes searching, which is very unusual, that would seem to confirm that one way or the other they recovered someone, because otherwise they would have probably stayed in the area longer. But like I said, details are a little sketchy on this one as of this point, and we'll have to wait for further details to be released down the line.
Yeah, and you have to also keep in mind that, up that north, the water temp is probably in the 50s this time of year, and your body's going to go into shock if you're in there for a certain amount of time in that kind of water.
Well, not only that, but 79 years old. I mean, granted, it could be in great shape, but 79 years old, you're jumping off a ship and you're hitting the water. The force of that. I think people underestimate what the force of that would be like. And that too can throw the body into a heck of a shock.
We end on the news that another cruise line is charging for shipboard entertainment. The question is, will this trend keep on going?
Well, this isn't necessarily a first, but it is a bit surprising given that the news is coming from Cunard with reference to their newest ship, the Queen Anne. According to Cruise Industry News, the line will be charging between $20 and $46 for shows they put on in their Bright Light Society venue. The shows in question include perks such as like a glass of champagne is with one. The other one has like 3 drinks included with it. And there's a specially printed program. We've certainly seen things like this before. For example, when I was on MSC Meraviglia, they had 2 shows that were sort of, most of the shows were free, but they had 2 special shows which had cover charges. And just like on the Queen Anne, they included a cocktail. And more generally speaking, almost every line offers some form of a dinner show, which comes with a cost attached. But this does seem a little bit disappointing from Cunard, which hasn't really faced accusations of nickel and diming up until now. But hey, I suppose sooner or later it happens on every ship. Doug, have you seen feedback on this? I know you did a news segment on it the other day, and I'm betting there was reaction.
Yeah, it was all over the map with the nickel and diming and also comparing it to Vegas, how they're upcharging for everything now at Vegas, not entertainment, but other things in Vegas where it's kind of impacting their tourism now. So yeah, it was all over the map. But I guess at the end, people vote with their wallets, right?
And let's not, be mistaken here. People will pay. I mean, I've been on Meraviglia several times over the last couple of years, and the show was on the first time, and it's still on now, So people clearly are paying. I don't know what the break-even point is, and I don't know. My fear is when we start seeing shows that, these are shows that are specialty shows that they're sort of doing with a price. My fear becomes how long until sort of every form of entertainment on the ship has a price. We already see, VR arcades and things like that come with an additional price, and just try and tell your kids, no, you don't, we're not going to pay for that. So it is, like you've said, a slippery slope, and I hope we don't go too much farther down it, to be honest.
All right. Well, staff writer Richard Sims, as always, thank you, my friend.
As always, glad to be here.
The world is constantly changing. Your place for news is still the same. Online and on demand at cruiseradio.net.
A big question we get at Cruise Radio is, how do I know if I need trip insurance? Simple answer. If you're getting on a plane, taking a road trip, or getting on a cruise ship, you need to have travel insurance. Hey, it's Doug Parker from my friends at tripinsurance.com. Not only does tripinsurance.com protect your vacation investment, but it also gives you peace of mind in case anything were to go wrong on your trip. How do they do it? They offer 3 different types of trip insurance policies. Good, better, and best. One policy for every vacation budget. But it doesn't just stop there. They're up to 40% lower when you shop around on other comparison sites. Plus, tripinsurance.com offers 24-hour customer support before, during, and after your trip, online claims assistance, and travel alerts to let you know what's going on at your destination. But find out for yourself. Check out tripinsurance.com.
Have a tip or a lead on a news story? Let us know. Email tips@cruiseradio.net.
Tim just returned from a 7-night cruise on MSC's World America, and he brings a different perspective because he also sailed on MSC World Europa, the same class ship, but over in Europe about a year ago. He joins us on the line now. Hey, Tim.
Hey, hi, Doug.
Great to talk to you again, Tim. You're up in Fargo, North Dakota. Let's take a step back. What made you want to take this 7-nighter on MSC World America?
Well, we ended up doing World Europa a little over a year ago. Our first MSC cruise. We wanted to tour the Mediterranean, and when we went through all the ships and everything, that had the itinerary we wanted to do. So even though we had never sailed them, we thought we'd give them a chance. We had a blast. We loved it, and so when we got back, even though World America was just being built, we booked this cruise so we could get on and compare we were really excited to see if there was a lot of difference between how they operated in Europe and how they operated in the United States.
Mm-hmm. So you're up in Fargo, North Dakota. Any pre-cruise time in Miami before you sailed?
Of course, because we're flying all the way from here, we always fly in a day early. So basically, we got in, we checked into a hotel and hung out by the pool for the day.
What hotel did you stay in?
The Hilton Blue Lagoon.
Okay, yeah, right there. There's like a True by Hilton, a Homewood Suites over there, and close to the airport too, which is very nice.
The only downfall is if you want to get some food, it's kind of far to get anything. So
yeah, you make your way to the cruise terminal, which is currently the largest cruise terminal in the world. MSC holds the title of that now. How was the embarkation process, and did you feel it was as flawless as it could have been?
It was flawless. It was smooth. And yes, that new terminal is beautiful. And I know you guys did a feature on that on Cruise Radio on the website there. So if anybody wants to check out what that looks like, I'd go there. But it is a beautiful terminal. They do the facial recognition. Basically, we just flew right in there and we were on the ship really fast.
What's involved with the embarkation process? Because when I was there, it was strictly different. It was a preview sailing, so there wasn't any revenue passengers on board. But you get to the cruise terminal, and are you just scanning or are you presenting your passport? Kind of walk us through that process, and how long would you say it took from the curb to the ship?
It was pretty fast to get all the way into the terminal and get a seat. So we walked up. If I remember right, I don't even think we even ever presented our passport. Boy, that's a good question. I know they did the facial recognition. I don't even think we flashed the passport or our paperwork. I guess I had the app, so maybe I brought it up on there.
Okay.
But we walked in, did facial recognition. They handed us a little ticket with a number on it. That was the order you were going to be called. So everybody, they must just start out with 1, 2, 3, 4. We got number 5. Mm-hmm. So it doesn't matter where you sit. You don't have to go sit in zone 5. You can sit anywhere. And then they started calling people within a few minutes after we walked in. And we showed up early, too. We didn't come at our scheduled time. We wanted to get there a little earlier. Thought, well, we'll see if we can get in. And sure enough, we did.
Once you boarded, what were your first impressions of the MSC World America coming off of MSC World Europa about a year ago?
They are beautiful ships. They look a lot alike. You wouldn't hardly know you were on a different ship except for a few things that they changed. But these are just beautiful ships all the way around. And of course, everything being brand new, it had only been sailing for 101 days when we walked on. So everything was still just beautiful and brand new. For someone not familiar with the class, what could you expect walking on board the MSC World America? For context, like Carnival, you walk into this big atrium or central. Royal Caribbean, normally the promenade, depending on what ship you're on. How about MSC? You walk in right on the lowest level of the, now I'm going to forget what it's called. The World, I believe it's the World Promenade. Isn't it the main indoor area? Yeah. So it's a 3-story area. You walk in and that's where all the shops are. They got a burger pizza place there and everything. The ceiling has these video screens that are, sometimes it's a stationary color. Sometimes there's videos playing on there and stuff. Very, very just beautiful area with these glass. Some of the stairways light up and everything. It's just a really beautiful area. I like that too. On those ships, when you walk right in, there's been some times you walk in, you kind of walk right into a hallway and stuff. Mm-hmm. It's nice to walk into that big open area. So let's talk about the dining on board. You just mentioned that, right there when you entered, you had a burgers and pizza type place. I will say this ship does have a lot of dining venues. So just for the sake of consistency, let's start at the buffet, though, which I know the ship has 2 different buffets. What did you think of the buffet area, and did it ever feel too crowded with there being 2 of them? Embarkation day, pretty crowded as usual on most ships. Any other timeline, not too bad at all. And we would hit up the 2 different buffets. One's on 18, one's on 19. One's a little smaller, and I think they kind of consider that to be more their family buffet with more foods geared towards kids or anything. But we thought the buffet was good. We think the quality of their food is really good. Probably could have used a little more variety from day to day, I think. But other than that, we thought the food is really good. And my only other complaint about the food is even in the burger place, they pre-made the burgers with tomatoes and pickles and special sauce. And so if you wanted a plain burger, that was kind of hard to get. So I don't know when kids get fussy with all the different fixings on there and everything, how that goes. But they did that with several other food items that I thought like, yeah, a kid might want that, but they might not want that part added to it. So if that makes any sense, I just kind of thought there were some things, like for example, something would have mushrooms on it. And they're like, well, yeah, they might want that, but the mushrooms. So if that makes any sense, what I'm trying to say there?
Yeah, it does 100% because I can't eat mayo. And a couple of things that I got on the ship had mayo on it. I'm like, this day and age, that should be on the side. It shouldn't be added on top of here. And, that probably sounds very first world problem. But if someone has a severe allergy, that could mess someone's day up.
Right. And that tomato allergies and stuff. And for me, it was like, I didn't want the sauce on there. Like I can pull off a tomato or a pickle or whatever, but the sauce is what kind of got me.
Were both these buffets open at the same time or were they staggered?
They did seem to stagger a little bit. And one time, I don't even know if they were trying to control the crowd because we went there and they weren't letting anybody in. And so then you had to go upstairs. So I'm not sure if once it gets a little full, if they try to push people up there. We only saw that happen one time. But other than that, I think they were pretty close to the same, but with maybe just a little staggered.
Gotcha. Now, outside of the buffet area, the main dining room, there are, I believe, 4 main dining rooms on this ship. What time dining did you have, and how was your experience in there?
We had the first seating, so 5 o'clock, I believe, 5 or 5:30. And it was a good experience. We liked it. We, like I said, I think their food quality on the ship is really good. So we went 2 different times and I had steak the one time. I wish I could remember what my wife had, but everything we had, we just thought it was really good food.
Did you find that the service was there?
Yeah, the only thing that got us was the first time we walked in, they all line up. We were there right when the doors opened, and they all line up. They're playing guitar, they're singing and clapping as you come in and everything. And so they had to finish up doing that before they came to our table. So we did sit down and we sat there for a little while, kind of wondering like, what's going on, because nobody was coming around. But that was the only thing. Other than that, the service was good. Yeah, everything was smooth. We didn't wait at all or anything. So,
well, Tim, this is the first ship in 15 years of sailing MSC that I actually had a really good, I'll even say excellent meal in the main dining room. I want to ask you, though, since you were on MSC World Europa last summer, how did it compare?
Europa, we never actually did the main dining room, so I don't have a total comparison. But I know your complaint about that. I've heard that many times before. And so even our first time going on at MSC, that was our concern about just a lot of the food and things are not up to par. So when we see people complain about MSC, that is one complaint we do see quite often. But we thought the food and everything, like for being a new ship too, I mean, they had things together. They were moving.
All right. That's good to hear. Outside of the main dining room, pizza and burgers, some other venues around the ship. Did you hit any other ones up?
Pizza and burger, we hit quite a few times because I have to say MSC does have the best pizza at sea, as far as I know. I guess there's some cruise lines we haven't tried yet, but we really enjoyed their pizza. We thought that was really good. And like I said, the burgers, that was my only complaint about the burgers, but they also had some really good mac and cheese sitting out there, and just even chips and nacho cheese. You can make yourself a little nacho thing. I mean, they just had a lot of different things in that area. So we actually hit that one up quite a bit.
How about grab and goes around the ship, whether it be, I don't know, burgers by the pool or anything on the back of the ship there?
Yeah, no, actually there was that on the Royal, or what's it called, the World Promenade out in the back of the ship. They have, a grab and grill place there with, I can't remember what that place is called, but yeah, cotton candy, popcorn, kind of a fun little stand right there. So we got cotton candy and popcorn one time and stuff. And then, yes, up on the Family Harbor, there's that other section too where they've got like pigs in a blanket and corn dogs and mini cheesecake and cookies and stuff. So we grabbed from there a couple times too, just because you're walking by and you're like, well, I got to have a corn dog.
Yeah, there you go. And Tim, I was so excited about the food and you comparing these two ships that you were on. I jumped right over the stateroom. So we're going to do the stateroom now. What kind of stateroom did you book on this 7-night cruise? And how was it for y'all throughout the 7 nights?
We booked an interior. We were on the 10th floor at the very front of the ship, the very first cabin. And it's okay that you skipped it because it took a while for us to get to our cabin anyway. So we hit all these venues first anyway. That was one thing that we found interesting. It took till 4:00 before our cabin was technically ready. Oh, wow. We were able to get in about 1:30. We went to check on it and they did let us put our carry-on stuff in the room, but technically wasn't ready yet. So it wasn't till like 4:00 that we actually could go in there and start unpacking and stuff. So that was I don't know if that was normal or was something was going on that day, but that was one small complaint. The cabin itself being up front, I believe when I look at the deck plans, right on the other side of our wall, I think they might be crew cabins. So there was a door at the end of the hallway right next to ours that pretty much all day and night they'd go through. So my wife, who's a lighter sleeper, heard that all the time. Other than that, it was a fine cabin, but yeah, she would hear that door open and close throughout the night.
You felt that there was enough space, storage. With it being a new ship, it's pretty much up to date as far as modern amenities, USB-C, USB.
Yes. The plugs are kind of different and very hard to plug into. So I tried to plug my stuff in and I'm like, it just wasn't going in there. So then I asked our room attendant and he came in there and he just forced it in there. I was like, okay, I didn't want to try that hard because I was going to break something. And some people in our Facebook group too were asking like, how am I supposed to plug this in? But yeah, I don't know if it's because they're new plugs or whatever, but you really had to force the plug in there. But yeah, plenty of stuff. And of course we always bring a couple of adapters because I've got several things that I'll plug in the room there. But
compared to other interior rooms that you've sailed in, how did this one stack up size-wise?
It was pretty good. I mean, and we were able to put our suitcases under the bed, so they were fine doing that. Because if you wouldn't be able to, some of them cruises where you might have 3 closets, because this has drawers and different things at the bottom. There's no way you could put your suitcases into the closet like we've been able to do in some other ships. So the fact they fit under the bed was really good. But yes, the closet, we only had 2, had the safe, the basic things. For us, we don't bring a ton of stuff, so it worked well for us. And the bathroom, newer ships got the glass door, because I know everybody hates that shower curtain and everything. So for the 2 of us, it was a good fit.
Let's talk about the entertainment on this 7-night cruise. There is quite a bit to unpack here because they have a lot of entertainment venues. In fact, I think like on a 7-night cruise, you probably couldn't even catch them all. But as far as the entertainment and the sampling that you did throughout the 7 nights, what did you think?
Yeah, that was one of the things. Now, you need to book a lot of this stuff. And we tried to do it pretty fast once we were on the ship, and we still found most things booked up before we even got to it. So helpful hint to anybody going on there, do that right away. So we wanted to see the comedians booked up. We wanted to see my wife wanted to see the Dirty Dancing show that they had booked up and stuff. So we did manage to finally get them booked up and get to see a lot of things. So we did see the Dirty Dancing performance, which they play the whole movie, and then they have dancers that come on the stage and a band actually plays along with the movie and different things. It was okay. If you like Dirty Dancing, you might really like it. For me, it was just okay. They had a Queen tribute show they had a symphony that had recorded basically a backing track that was projected on the big screens, and then the band performed, and they performed all these Queen hits. That was a good show. The band was really good. The singers were really good. They did a really good job with because for me, I believe a lot of Queen songs are really, really hard to duplicate, but they did a very good job doing those songs, and it was a really good show. We did see a magic show. It was okay. And the comedians were so as well too. We didn't find them exceptionally funny or anything. So But yes, there is a lot to do besides trivia and everything else that goes on around the ship.
How about nighttime programming or / entertainment happening along the World Promenade there? Anything at nighttime?
We're not big, super late people. They did hold the white party out on the main area, or no, that was actually still out on the back area too. So, yeah, I mean, they did hold some silent disco, white night, those types of things were held out in that area too. They weren't put into a club. They were kind of in those main areas.
Okay. Now, as far as the casino is in a place towards the back of the ship on deck 7, I think. I could be wrong, but it is towards the back of the ship. Well, you would walk through there, because I believe you had to walk through there to go see the Queen show, if I remember correctly, correct?
Yep, that's right. That I believe it's Promenade Bar performance area. Yeah, you do have to walk through the casino to get to that. And
I believe that on this ship, the casino is non-smoking, but there is that little tidy smoking casino. Is that correct?
Yeah, it's kind of the opposite of most of the ships, where it's all non-smoking. But yeah, then all the smokers are put into the little glass cage.
Right. It's like the aquarium, right? So then the smoke situation really isn't an issue unless you walk into the smoking aquarium. You'll smell like smoke the rest of the day, because I've did it a couple of times just to see what slot machines were in there. But all right, well, very cool. Sea Days. As far as crowds and congestion, how was that? And what was it like, the landscape by the pool, the family harbor? Like, just give us what you saw on Sea Days.
I thought it was pretty well spread out. Whenever we wanted to, this ship has a lot of hot tubs and a lot of pool area. And whenever we wanted to go out, we swam in the main pool. We just went out and we were able to get chairs pretty much right up front even. I mean, it just seemed like there must be enough pool areas and everything that it's so spread out that we didn't have a problem whether we went to the adult Zen area or the main pool area, wanted to do a hot tub somewhere. We were kind of able to do what we wanted. And they also have this, I can't remember what the area is called either, but it's an enclosed area with a pool that they can open the top up. Sometimes they'd have that open, sometimes closed. That was a very popular area. That was maybe a little more crowded, but the other ones, good to go.
You emailed me some photos of the cliffhanger. Did you eventually get to go on it?
Yeah, when we got on the ship, it was closed down for repair, and they had these huge chains laying out and everything. And I thought, ooh, this looks like some little repair. So I really had a bad feeling about it. And we had heard, they said, yeah, it should be open before the end of the cruise. But actually, it only took 2 days. They got it back up and running. And yeah, that's kind of a fun experience to swing out over the side of the ship. It's like 22 floors up above the water. And we were in port. We got some great views while we were up there. And it's my wife is not as adventurous as I am in those kinds of things, but she even enjoyed it.
What did that set you back price-wise?
$9 a person.
Okay.
Yeah, $9 for about a minute ride.
The bumper cars, did you do that at all?
No, we didn't do them. We saw them going, but did do the F1 simulator because I did do the status match. And with our previous cruise, I am gold with them. So you get a free F1 simulator ride that you get to do.
Okay, where exactly is that? I looked all over the ship for that damn thing, and I could not find it anywhere unless I walked right by and wasn't paying attention. Is it more like in a kids area, or where was this?
Yes, it is. On the one floor they have, I believe it's the same floor with the bumper cars, but they have a bigger gaming room by the kids areas, the teen areas and stuff. And so there's a hallway. You kind of have to go down this hallway and turn a little bit. It is a little hidden. There's only one sign on a wall that even suggests that you should walk down that hall. Okay, good. So it wasn't going crazy. Because I remember like the bumper cars, and above the bumper cars was the whole Lego shop up there. And then there was like the kids, there was the bar made of a container, a shipping container. And then kind of past that was kids area. But yeah, I did not see the F1 at all. So now I know where it is if I ever go back on that ship. Well, the port's a call. You leave Miami. What was your first port? And give us the highlight. That was Puerto Plata in the Dominican Republic, where we did an excursion. We did a beach day with a lunch and then a tour of the city. We had been to Dominican before, but we've never actually toured around. We've just kind of done some day resort type things before. So it was kind of nice to get around and see the city. Of course, like any of those tours, it's kind of a take you around to different shops to shop, but you get to experience a little bit of the city. And the beach was good, and the food was fairly decent at the beach and everything. So it was a good day.
You've been to Amber Cove before, right?
Yes.
Okay. So how does this development differ from Amber Cove?
Well, this is just a basic port, but they did. I mean, I guess I didn't really realize till we walked back, because we had this excursion scheduled. So when we walked right out, we just got on a bus right away. When we came back, yes, they actually have a pool area and everything you can use too, which we were unaware of, and quite a few stores around that area. So it is a pretty nice area. I think Amber Cove looked and seemed a little bit better, but I mean, it looked like it would be a lot of fun. I wish we would have known about it and we would have got back maybe and checked that out.
How would you describe the tour you did? So you make your way outside of the port gates and you get to view the city. Are there mountains out there? Like, what is, I don't really recall what's outside of or what's around Puerto Plata.
Well, you can see off in the distance mountains, but everywhere we drove was pretty flat. We went to a city center, walked around, went to an umbrella street. There's one area where the entire street area is everything's painted pink. The street, the walls, the everything. It's devoted to a lady who really helped start tourism there in the Dominican Republic and stuff. And I believe she had cancer or something, and that's why it's done in pink, if I remember right. But yeah, it was just being in the city center, little town square area. We just walked around that area, and then these different shops that they took us to that obviously had arrangement with it when we went to the stores. But it was nice to get out and just see. And for me, I even just like, as we drive, to be able to see how the people live and stuff instead of just going to the resort,
Certainly. So you leave Puerto Plata. What was your next port of call, and what was your highlight?
That was San Juan, Puerto Rico. We had been there before, where we just walked everywhere and checked it out. So this time we wanted to do a tour that took us into the newer part and kind of just get to see this, see it more. So we did that. We just took a bus tour that took us all around the new and the old part of the city. While we were there, they were filming a movie in the cemetery that is there. So that was kind of interesting to see that. And I had a little incident with my daughter. I sent her a text saying, we're in Puerto Rico and they're shooting a movie. Well, your little preview on your phone, it just said, we're in San Juan and they're shooting.
Oh, geez.
So I gave her a little heart attack when she got that text at first.
Oh, geez. Did you find out what movie that was?
No, it was a pretty good sized production. I mean, They had a lot of trucks and a lot of things going on, but yeah, we couldn't ever figure it out. So I'd like to, maybe if we ever can figure it out, I'd like to see the movie.
This itinerary only had 3 ports of call. So you went to Puerto Plata, then you went to San Juan, and then the third one, which was the private island Ocean Key. This was your first time there. So what did you think about it?
There's not a lot to do there if you're somebody who likes like the things that Coco Cay has with all the water slides and all that stuff. They don't have all this. This is really just totally a beach day. And we loved it because that's part of why we cruise. We like the relaxation part. So we had reserved a clamshell thing, and we just sat in there, had a few drinks, and swam in the water. And the water is beautiful. And the way it's designed, at least in the area we were in, I think pretty much all the areas where you swim, there are blocked so you have no waves. It just is like a swimming pool, and so the water is beautiful. You can see the bottom everywhere. And yeah, we just enjoyed the day there.
A lot of folks say that place severely lacks shade unless you pay for it, an umbrella or what have you. What are your thoughts on that?
I would have to agree. There is not a lot of trees or anything to get shade. So we had the clam, so we were pretty good. But yes, especially later in the day with the humidity and, just my feet sticking out of the shade. I could just feel them burning. So yeah, if you don't have any shade, if you're not going to pay for something, some people grabbed a few trees, but they're pretty far from where you're going to swim and things. So yes, I would agree with that. There's not a lot of shade there.
What was the food situation like on Ocean Key?
It was okay. I guess they only had the one buffet. They have opened a second one that's pretty new, I guess. We didn't walk over there and look at it, but the one we were at was really busy because I think everybody thought that was the only one. So the lines were pretty long. And the same thing again, the burgers were already made up with all the ingredients on there and everything. So you weren't able to get to the plain burger or anything. So, but it was still good food and everything. It just took a long time to get to the line, and there was plenty of seating. We didn't have a problem finding a place to sit and eat or anything.
That's good. So you make your way back on the ship. You're heading back to PortMiami. How was the debark process with that many people?
Again, smooth. The only issue, we were off the ship fast. So no waiting down in a lot of times they have you come down and you seem like you're standing there waiting to get off the ship. As soon as we got down, they said, here you go, get in line. And we were in line and we were off the ship in just a minute. It was so fast. The only issue I had there, and I don't know why, is we were trying to call an Uber, and I don't know if it was the parking garage was just not allowing my location to pinpoint. So I had a little trouble trying to call up an Uber there. So we stood out there for quite a while. But that was the only issue with debark we had at all.
All right. Any first-time tips to offer someone sailing MSC World America?
We overall, I want to say, had kind of a love-hate thing with the ship. We had fun because the cruise is kind of what you make it. And there was a lot of things we really loved about the ship. I didn't mention the gelato. We just loved the gelato. The stores, my wife said, just believed they had lots of variety in all the stores compared to a lot of other ships. We loved the pizza. But for us, we felt the vibe of the ship was a little bit different. We're not partiers or anything like that, but we are kind of social where we like to talk to a lot of people. And we didn't feel like that happened as much on this ship. I don't know if that's an MSC thing or why. So we kind of missed that a little bit. Other than that, it is great. We liked the ship. It might be a little while before we take another MSC. We might like to get back to our Carnival and Royal, our usual cruise lines. But we're not opposed to ever taking one again. Wi-Fi was a little spotty for us too. That was another downfall why I say we had this love-hate thing. But I wouldn't be afraid to take an MSC cruise and check it out because it is, there's a lot of things we loved about the ship and it being beautiful and, even small things to us, the pop was cold. Some of these other cruise lines, they hand you a can of pop and it's warm. Even on the pool deck, they were cold. It was just small things like that we really appreciated on this cruise. I
want to go back to how you booked this because you booked the Fantastica experience. And if I'm not mistaken, correct me if I'm wrong, MSC has like the Bella, the Fantastica, the Aurora, and the Yacht Club experience. Is that correct? Where each level has different, levels of inclusion?
Yes, basically, the lowest one does not come with, it's basically your cabin and the free, restaurants and things like that. None of them include restaurants, but our level included Wi-Fi and a drink package. And so that was about the only two things that we got extra.
This wasn't a cheap cruise. So did you feel the value was there for what you paid?
This was the most expensive cruise we ever took. I'm assuming because it's a new ship. We probably could have done all the same things on a cheaper cruise, but we really wanted to check out MSC again. We really wanted to get on this new ship because we liked Europa so much and everything. So, and in fact, this cost us more than Europa did. So, wow. Yes, it was okay. I think we probably could have had the same experience for a little less on another cruise line. But if you want to try MSC and be on a new ship like this, that's probably going to cost you right now being it's new.
Was this a full sailing?
It was full. They had signs up at the desk saying it was a full cruise. And even our Facebook group, nobody was really receiving upgrade offers, it sounded like.
What was the temp in the Facebook group? People griping, enjoying?
We had both. And some of the complaints were the same thing about us. And I hate to use the word complaint, but they didn't just feel that other people were as friendly. Mm-hmm. And so it just kind of seemed that was an overall theme that complaint was the friendliest part about the other passengers.
MSC is extremely popular with doing the status matching, whether it's with airlines, hotels, or other cruise lines. So did you status match into what level, and what did you think of what you were offered?
So we did status match before we went on Europa, and so I gained enough points. I was their silver level there, but after that cruise got enough points to get to gold. And I do have to say that I do feel, and we know there's a lot of conversations lately about these loyalty programs and things like that. They do offer quite a bit of things. I got that free F1 simulator. I did not take advantage of it, but you got a free hour in thermal spa. You get it's a thermal, what is it? It says it's a thermal session. So I'm not sure exactly what you get there, but you get an hour of that. You get a reward, you get 20% spa discounts, and even in the stores, if you buy MSC, branded type items, you get a 15% discount. And so, I was by my cruise ship model. Well, that 15% off of I think it was a $60 ship, it's a nice little discount to get those things.
Yeah.
So I have to say their program for what you get, it seemed, and gold. Oh yeah. You get easier access to the theater shows or something, which I didn't know how to do that, so we didn't really do that. But that's something that's listed on the list of things you're supposed to get. So I do think they have a pretty nice rewards program, which made us really want to love MSC and cruise them more, because of the Carnival one is bugging us a little bit. So we wanted to enjoy it for that. So, but yes, they have a very good loyalty program in our opinion.
All right. Well, your biggest highlight of this 7-night cruise on MSC World America?
I would say, being we had been most of the ports before, we like the relaxation of Ocean Cay. That is a beautiful place. So we'd love to go back there again someday. The food was good, and the many different places you could get food, which I think helped keep lines down and stuff. And that pizza was really, really good. So I really love the pizza and just how beautiful the ship was. It really is a very beautiful ship.
Final thoughts of MSC World America?
Beautiful ship, a fun cruise, really laid out to where you're not going to feel crowded. If chair hogs and things like that are a concern, it was never a concern on our cruise. We were able to get through and do pretty much everything we wanted. And even the shows that we weren't able to book right away, they do have a waiting line that you can get in and try to get in for people who didn't show. And so we were still able to see the shows and the comedians we wanted to and everything. So it's still a wonderfully good time on the ship. If you're really looking to party and have that kind of a cruise like a lot of people do, might not be a good fit. But if you're an easygoing, relaxing type cruise, this is a perfect fit. We were able to just get away. We run a small business, and so the relaxation part is big for us. So we love that part of it.
And if you'd like to see Tim's pre-cruise review of his Hilton Miami Airport Blue Lagoon Hotel, or some footage of the MSC World America, you can check out his YouTube channel at Cruising Together Couple. Tim, always a pleasure talking to you, my friend. Thank you so much for checking in.
You bet. Appreciate it.
All right, Dougie, let's see what we got for you, buddy. Cruise Radio is produced at the tripinsurance.com studios in Jacksonville, Florida. Get cruise news, ship reviews, and money-saving tips every Thursday on Cruise Radio. If you've enjoyed this episode, please subscribe to the show. If you want to help spread the word, give Cruise Radio a 5-star review. Find Cruise Radio where you listen to your favorite podcast, or online at cruiseradio.net. I'm your announcer,